speed, baby. Penetration. God created.
What's
All
up,
up in that
everybody?
one satchel, baby. Did you like the usage of that word satchel? I haven't never used it in my life before, so there you go.
What does it mean in real life?
What?
When did you use it and that it wasn't in real life?
No, I think a satchel is something like that'd be hanging off the back of a horse or something. Like, I just imagine like a woman having a satchel. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
Feeding the pony.
It sounds, I don't know, vagina related.
Yeah, like them words that you just can't get out of your head, like
Juicy.
yeah, you know them certain words.
It sounds
Moist.
juicy,
No. One is moist.
Oh,
when
yeah,
people
yeah.
say moist, it's always related to something
yeah.
sexual. Do you know what I mean? It's never like, oh fuck, I've got a moist leak in my roof.
Well, I was going to say welcome to this week's podcast. Those voices you heard are our guests this week. God Creative,
Yes.
Dublin rapper extraordinaire.
Whatever, artist, man.
He's rapping Christmas presents now.
And also the other voice you hear is actor and writer John Connors.
Thanks for having me, lads.
Yeah. Up the. I was going to say up the boys. I'm going to keep this non-political.
I read a story recently about a woman who got a payoff in the Labour courts up the north because her boss shouted Chucky Arla at her.
Really?
That's right, yeah.
She was Catholic and I think he was Protestant, and he shouted at her when they were having some kind of argument in front of everybody. Took him to court and won a few bob. So there you go.
She won a few bob for him saying it to her.
Yeah, discrimination.
I think though,
Alright.
there was a series of events and this was kind of
The tipping
the
point.
tipping point.
I always love to say Chucky Arla. You know?
It was the context though.
Okay.
You know, it was the context he was
So it was
using.
like sectarian.
Yeah.
So he was being satirical when he was saying it. Chucky Arla.
And it cost him about 40 grand.
Like I had a dyslexic mate who said, "Who's painting Kira everywhere?"
She does get around all right.
Some satchel.
Boys, nice one for having us. Congratulations on our new podcast.
Thanks
you.
very much.
Yeah, you know, I'm kind of involved with the guy that's, you know, up there. Ed, what's up, baby? He asked me to come through. I asked John, and we're happy to be here, boys. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, and you did promise to make it our worst ever podcast.
It's gonna be the worst of the best. You know what I mean? Like,
You're off to a good start anyway.
Yeah. We don't like structure on this stuff. It's
The
art.
best,
No.
the best worst, like Nicolas Cage.
That's it, man. Nicolas Cage, he you know,
He's the
Wicker,
best
Wicker
worker.
Man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Wicker Man versus what did he won? He won an Oscar for something, John. What did he?
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, wasn't it?
No,
He wasn't
man.
in that.
Oh, in Las Vegas. Well,
Yeah.
that was in the title.
Yeah.
Where he just played
So-
himself and got drunk.
and won an
Won
Oscar.
an Oscar. Yeah.
Nicolas Cage won an Oscar.
And there's
did.
El Jim Carrey playing the old gay man in jail, and he couldn't even win an Oscar
was
for
a
that,
sin.
boys.
That was a
That
sin.
was the same, boys.
Philip Morris.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
That
man.
was a great film.
My God,
yeah.
the most
Brilliant.
underrated movie you've probably ever seen.
Yeah.
lads.
Unbelievable.
Did you see Man on the Moon, though?
Did you watch Jim and Andy?
Did you fuck it? That
Boys,
was
man, can we talk
unbelievable.
about that?
Yes,
That
Ed.
was
I have it written down. I've been waiting for it to come up.
Can we talk about that? Because I just came off that like 2 nights ago, man.
Really?
But I seen it was on Netflix 17th November, and I was literally waiting for it. And the 17th November came, and the notification came up, and I watched it straight away.
Yeah.
And it was just
Crazy,
fucking
man.
unbelievable. Like it's crazy, like how far he went.
Unbelievable. I've always loved Jim Carrey, man. I always loved
Yeah.
him.
Hey, well, we idolise him, John.
I
right?
idolise him.
We
I
do.
idolise him.
We always talk about how he's a shapeshifter. How
How would just come on the scene as well, man? Like with Dumb and Dumber and The Mask and Ace Ventura in 1 year, and he was the highest paid actor of all time. He wrote a check to himself in like 1989.
That's right. That's
and he
in
said
the
in 5
documentary.
years' time I'm going to get a $10 million check. And he wrote it to himself, and he got it in 5 years' time. And then his father died, so he put the check in the coffin with his father. But that power of visualization, you know, he was a great example of that.
Yeah,
He is
does
good.
go
You believe in
on
all
about
that power of visualization stuff?
Big time, big time.
Have you written yourself a check?
No, I haven't. I'm not really motivated by money, but anything that I've achieved in life so far, I've already visualised it.
Yeah.
And that's without reading any laws, attraction, whatever. It's just something that came natural to me, I suppose.
I'm not so big into the idea of visualizing something and getting it, but certainly your outlook itself
Yeah.
gets you where you need to go.
Well, yeah, but the way you look at the world, if you look at everything negative, you can't be positive. It's
Absolutely.
impossible.
You got to pay it
So you get
forward.
people who
Everything
are-
has to be paid
Yeah,
forward, man.
absolutely.
That's basic psychology.
Yeah.
People who just have it down on the road, no matter what negative things happen. So you have to make an effort to go, no, shit, this is going to get positive, and I'm not going to let the day go down. And you get days and days like
And
that.
you have
and
to
it
live
gets
it, man. You have to live it. I found a
Yeah.
handbag on the road yesterday.
Yeah.
Your woman's address was inside. Drove up, knocked. Well, her next door. I wasn't sure. I was thinking, fuck, what if I knock on the door and she doesn't live there? You know. And the next door neighbour was going in. I called him. Is this the house? Yeah, Grant went in, gave the bag back. And your man was like, she wasn't in. She's like, well, do you want me to take her details and she can ring you and all that? You know, thinking I'd want maybe a few bob or something.
Yeah.
I was like, no, don't want that. And like, just want the comfort of knowing that if someone else found my shit, they might give it back to me.
Yeah, that's the world, man. Once you put out there, you get back as well, you know?
Absolutely, man. There's about 200 quid in it as well, so hopefully that'll come back to me.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to do it. It's all about outlook for me.
It's a cold world as well, boys. We have a lot of opportunities over here that not a lot of people do around the globe as well. Do you know what I mean?
It's very true.
You
But
know?
there's Teddy getting all political now.
Let's take it there, man.
Che Guevara.
Hey, sometimes I need to just look at our shitty little country sometimes and say, boys, we're not doing too bad here. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of opportunity. There's more opportunity for an artist like me over here than there is probably over in America to establish myself here as somebody, you know.
Absolutely.
Because I'm in my comfort zone here. We all are. We're all Irish born and bred. You know what I mean? Like we're in a comfort zone here. I think the tools are around us to use them. Do you know what I mean? Like
I'm a great believer in that. I mean, you gotta say, all right, we got a fucking homelessness crisis. We gotta fucking do something about it. Like there's always problems, but I never lose sight of the fact that just being from this country, just living in this country is actually we're richer. Even if you're poor as fuck, you're still richer than 80-90% of the world.
that's what I'm trying to say.
You know?
That you articulated it perfect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally
man.
agree with that, but then you have to still strive for more.
Exactly.
You do have to
You know, when
strive for more.
12 people have
Yeah.
died, 7 people have died in the last 12 nights in
It's
Dublin
disgrace.
City.
You're right.
It shouldn't be allowed, you know.
And you know what?
100%.
I'm going to go even more political, all right?
Yeah.
That fucking one, Frances.
Here we go.
Frances Fitzgerald, yeah, she's gone now, yeah.
Thank God.
You know
Yeah.
who's now going to be the new
Simon
Tánaiste?
Coveney, the
Simon
cunt.
Coveney. What was he? Minister for Housing.
Yeah.
Homelessness crisis, so he gets rewarded with a fucking
But
Tánaiste position.
I met him in the 1 year anniversary of the Carrick Mines tragedy, right? And he had the gall to show up there without housing the people after putting them in a former dump surrounded by electrical pylons that people have been getting cancer for in the local estate for the last 20 years, and their clothes being eaten by rats. And he did gall to show up there at that 1 year anniversary.
Now there's a
And
tramp,
that was
boys.
that was this time last year, and he says to me, I went up to him directly in front of a lot of people. I said, when are these people going to be getting housed? Now, don't forget, they wasn't getting specially treated because of what happened in the fire, and that's why they were getting housed. They were due to be housed for 20 years. They were literally 20 years waiting on a little site. And he says, within the next 6 weeks or whatever. Only a year later, they only got what their site now. And now their site's they're living in is like one room, one kitchen, a tiny little place, substandard as well. And now he's the Tánaiste. Like he's just one seat away from being a Leo's chair, which he probably will be eventually anyway.
Well, you know what? This is a good job to them. This is what they believe in. They believe that poverty is inevitable, but poverty's not inevitable. I mean, especially in this country, we can do it right. And as you say, we got to strive for more because these other countries, the really poor countries in the world, they won't be really poor forever. And we have to set an example for what they can be.
Well, it's
so
silly.
when they get money,
when
they'll
you
say,
think about it, there's only like on any given night in Dublin now, and this is excluding Cork and Limerick and other places where you get homeless people. There's only like 150 to 170 homeless people, right? Think about that. And then there's 7,500 on the list, and they're all different types of homelessness, right? But all in all, there's tens of thousands, maybe 70,000 altogether who are living in a home with parents, and all the different types of homelessness. There's like 220,000 houses that are free. Yeah. And you don't want to sell them because it's going to mess with the property market again. And now the latest budget goes all back into property and investment again, setting up for another recession again. And who benefits from that? And then 80% of the people in the Dáil who represent us are landlords. Yeah. This is a country of landlords.
And you know what? We've had trouble with landlords for centuries in this country.
That's what the culture is. This is a country of
100%.
landlords.
Yeah.
But you know, this is what they want.
Yeah.
This is what they want. What working class person can afford a gaff these days?
No one at all. They can't afford a rent.
Not me, man. I'm still at
Can't
fucking
afford the
home,
rent.
man.
Yeah.
Jesus
Very
Christ.
hard.
I've
How
about
could you
10
afford
different cousins, all homeless, all kids and all homeless. Like they're living in hotels, or they're either living in hotels or living with their parents, you know?
Disgraceful.
Yeah. And whenever you see the world leaders getting together, it's always, they're talking about about jobs and economy, and you never hear anybody talking about, we're getting together to discuss people's quality of living, what we can do to make life better for everyone across the
100%.
board and help others.
That's because they don't look at things through a moral lens.
Yeah.
Everything is financial.
Exactly.
So they're not empaths.
Yeah,
These
there's no
people are
money
not,
in it.
they're just neocons and neoliberals. That's
Yeah.
what they'll do. The popular things that are riding, like when gay marriage became popular, so that's the popular wave now. We'll ride, you know what I mean, and we'll go with that. But in terms of financially, they're completely conservative fiscally, and it's all about numbers.
Yeah.
This is
Corporations.
it. They pretend to have differences between the parties based on social issues, but social issues are very personal to people. And the great propaganda of neoliberalism has been to define parties based on their social agenda, but in the same time doing the same bullshit with the economy behind the scenes. No matter who's in power,
Yeah.
only benefits themselves. But I even on the subject of morality, I bet you they think that they're morally superior because they think the market will eventually become moral in and of itself. And they fool themselves into thinking that they're decent, and fucked a lot of them.
Yeah, but if you just look at Ireland in our context, you look at everything we inherited everything from the Brits. So our law, a system of law, our police, everything, absolutely every institution, right?
Yeah.
So we're meant to be this unique people with a unique culture, Gaelic Irish people, and everything we inherited inside is from the British. So that's a completely different culture, and we're trying to still strive within that. Now we're seeing that the whole thing is failing. What's the option? Like, I've lost faith completely in the system. I still vote, and I still use that vote. But even the people I vote for, if they gain, and none of them are in power and have been in power, but if they get in power, I still don't believe in them, even if they get in power, because I believe the system is set up in that way.
There's really no one to vote for in this country, I don't think. No one that inspires too much hope,
No, definitely not. Well, I've been voting for Sinn Féin, but if you look at Sinn Féin's manifesto, I think they're looking to put minimum wage to like €9.90 or €10. That's not revolutionary.
No.
Do you know what I mean? That's not revolutionary. We need a revolution. Like, basically, essentially what we need.
Absolutely.
You know, but they'd fit a lot of, they tick some of the boxes for me, but no one party would tick all the boxes for me, you know?
I mean, what's the point of a minimum wage if it's not the living wage? Why should there be a difference? It's either the living wage or it's not a wage. If you can't buy a gaff on your... And I don't give a shit what people think. Some people say, oh, why should a guy in McDonald's get paid as much as blah, 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 or get that much money? I don't give a shit. If you're putting 40 hours of your time into someone else's business, you deserve to be able to afford a gaff and deserve to be able to raise your family. End of story.
Well, that should be a right that should be into the Constitution now.
Absolutely.
A right to a home. That should be like South Africa have it. A country like South Africa have it.
Is that right,
I think we're like a lot of countries have it. And
But isn't it in our proclamation at the same time? Somewhere in there?
Well, listen, we haven't lived up to that proclamation in many, many ways. And we should be still striving towards that.
We should be still striving to fulfil that.
Yeah,
I agree,
that was
100%.
part of the problem is that a lot of our great leaders were executed and were killed.
Of course.
Now, if you look at James Connolly and what he believed in, the Ireland he envisioned, but if you look at the water charge, trying to force that on you, right? And then Europe tells our government to please take that 13 billion from Apple, please.
Yeah.
And our government are going, no, we're not taking 13 billion, and with all the problems we have, right? Which could raise the 19 billion from Apple, right? Now, that's just Apple. Altogether, right, we have not reclaimed about 240 billion, right? We already have a 12.5% corporation tax, tiny, and we're not even claiming that. If we took the 240 billion back, we'd be 20 billion in profit. We'd pay back our debt. We could sort out the homeless crisis.
I mean, the 12.5%
Where are you at, Jim
corporation
Carrey?
tax.
That's simple maths, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
There's a
that's...
lot of-
Sorry, go on.
I was saying there's a lot of people benefiting from this country without the average person seeing any benefit from it.
A lot of people that aren't from this country as well.
Exactly. Isn't there a building in the IFSC that there's something like 200 companies registered
Oh
in
no,
it?
I think I told you this. It's much worse than that. When all this Apple shit was coming out, it has one room office. They're called what's the plaque? Is that what they call them? You know, where you see the business on a brass plaque or something like that.
Or like the index of
They're
the...
called brass plaque corporations.
Right.
Their headquarters is in Ireland, but they have no operations. 80,000 companies registered to a one-room office on Grand Canal Dock.
We're
All they do is pay
we're
no
essentially
tax.
saying just come here and rape us. That's
Yeah.
what our politicians are saying.
So like 12.5% is fine. Just collect it.
Starbucks paid something like €100 last year in tax in Ireland. Starbucks.
So one person in their staff, probably on minimum wage, not able to afford a gaff.
They're all
not able to
minimum
afford
wage.
rent. They're paying more tax.
I know people who work for them, they're all minimum wage.
And they're paying more tax.
Well, there's another one. Who keeps letting Starbucks open everywhere? I mean, like, is no one looking at this and saying this is getting saturated with these? But I think in Dunleary on the main street, there's one across the road from each other.
There's 57. There's how many? The 57th Starbucks opened a couple of weeks ago. And in retaliation, all the
In Dublin?
Yeah, in Dublin. And all the rebel coffee makers were doing free coffee on the day that the 57th one opened. Just to kind of
Remember
say,
that,
just
yeah.
to kind of say, you know, fuck you, man. What about the man in the middle? What about the man who put all his fucking money up here?
Wouldn't mind their coffee shite as well.
To set up,
Yeah.
Seriously, like,
it's not that
And
tasty.
we've a mate who works
Useless.
there, and he says it's just the cheapest beans, and whatever. Like that. There's a
Yeah.
place there in Temple Bar. I think it's like Cup of Cha. It's called just a little.
Yeah.
And
Opposite
it's
the
just
Project Arts.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that's the best cup of coffee in town. Like it's no big franchise around, but
Yeah.
that's the real shit. You know, all Italians working behind the blaze and all. You know?
Never give me money to Starbucks.
Oh, we're cutting out the smaller men all the time, the smaller businesses, boys. You know
This
what
is
I
how
mean?
we
Like
do
they're
it.
local businesses as well. They're families that need that money as well, you know.
No, but lads, where do you cross the line?
Where the fuck is
You know,
that
with these-
Starbucks money going, man? I'm
with
into a
these
big
sort of
corporate fucking giant, you
like,
know?
you know when you get a specific sort of like people talk. Do you remember with O'Leary and Topaz and people talked about boycotting Topaz and whatever. But where do you draw
O'Brien,
the line though? Because really, O'Brien. But really, like if you're like they're all fucking us. All them corporations are fucking us.
Yeah.
Every one of them. It's not just Dennis O'Brien.
Yeah.
So why just target that? Like really, you want to be like really the only way you do it is like living out on your own, fucking self-sufficient, growing your own vegetables. That's the only way you're not
Fall
getting.
out four or
And listen,
something, boys.
and even
6
then,
turnips in the garden.
right? And listen, and even then, you have to buy the fucking seeds. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like,
Yeah.
where do you do it? How you know what I mean? Where do you draw the line?
Yeah,
Like,
thank fuck for fucking Starbucks, boys. After all that, though.
I'm pro Starbucks.
But if anyone's if anyone's listening, who the fuck knows? But if you are listening, don't buy your coffee in any of those corporations.
No,
Just
there you go. That's
Always
the
a small
message here,
place to
man.
go.
Yeah.
Go to your local
Yeah.
cafe. Give them your
100%,
money.
man. Definitely. Grow
Man,
your own
fucking
veg.
instant coffee you'd buy yourself anywhere will be better than that shit.
Yeah.
And there's one of them that are pretty good in, and they put a lot of the money back into like poverty and people in poverty-stricken areas and countries. Is it which one does that? Which brand? The big coffee
Who?
bank.
Insomnia, I think.
No,
Yeah,
it's
what
not.
did
No.
what did he do, John?
They put a lot of money back into communities in the South America and all millions and millions, and in Africa. It's a really, really. What's the one with beginning N? Ness or
Nescafe.
it could be Nescafe. I could be talking bollocks here, but
Come on, man.
Damon Dempsey told me this
Nescafe.
anyway. One of them.
Did you ever see
is
the?
never- Get the
They're fucking
fucking
all right,
right.
them fellas. Damo said, "You fucking get money back in Africa and all."
Get the gold blend. €5 goes to Africa.
Lads, in all fairness, I prefer a cup of tea anyway. Just give me an apple berries or a lion.
You know what's funny, boys?
You know what I mean?
Is,
Like,
it's been a mad year with like a couple of deaths, couple of things, life in general. But I just noticed one little thing, like when we were sitting around these little family organisations, a cup of ale fucking cha is the solution to anybody's problem. If they're having a bad day, but you want an ale cup of tea.
And a rollie.
So there's a death in the house. No one's saying that. So we'll have a cup of tea.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
everything.
A cup of fucking tea will fix Irish society, boys. That's it.
All right,
you
what
know
way
I
do you
mean?
take your tea?
Get your
Yeah.
tea, dip me balls in it. Dip me 2 balls in it and
You
drink
made
it
me a
like
cup of
real
tea
man.
earlier. There's a bit of hair in it.
Now, you know what? I shouldn't be. I'm putting more. I'm going organic. I'm sticking honey into my tea now these days.
Very
boys.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. So
It's
a
a-
little,
it's like,
Are you
regular
milk?
tea.
Do you take
yeah.
milk in
Oh
your
yeah,
tea?
yeah. I should be putting soy in that, and then we'd be going up a level. Did you ever taste it with honey and soy milk?
Not normal tea, but
I have
Normal
mixed
tea
Other
with some
tea.
honey and soy, fucking amazing.
sometimes
Boys.
put into coffee.
You know, it's like ambrosia fucking cream rice, man. You know what I mean? Like the tea is just like, mwah, you know what I mean? It's amazing.
but is it, why don't you just eat ambrosia cream rice? Then?
You had to take it there, John, didn't you, man? It was only a comparison.
if you
for
want that,
fuck's
like,
sake, you know what I mean?
stop depriving yourself.
John, what way do you take your tea?
Oh, just a little drop of milk and no sugar, really dark,
Real
like diesel.
real
You're a
traveller.
real little traveller, man.
Yeah,
rough and ready.
he tells you to just
Rough
throw
and ready.
the cup at his face then when you make
and
it.
even just eat the tea
and he
bag.
just opens his mouth and the tea bag goes into his
I'll
mouth.
just eat the tea bag even. Just wet the tea bag. Strong.
Makes his own organic milk.
I dip my hand in the petrol every day for 20 minutes.
I have to say I've been somewhat integrated into traveller society over the last 5 years, and you pull some great things from it. Like, but one thing that the travelling community does great is they put curry powder into their stew, lads. And what they
Right.
do is, now this is a secret, you know what I mean. Like, this is a secret. It's a little travelling secret that'll spread out for everyone out there listening. So what you do is you put the old curry powder into the stew and mix it up. The curry powder keeps the stew for X amount of days, keep it great. Cold days, put the heat into you, Amazing boys.
That's what it's from. It came from on the road years
There
ago
you
in the
go,
40s
exactly.
and 50s, and herbs and spices when I come over. But you don't put enough in that it's like a Chinese curry.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Do you know what I
no,
mean?
no,
It just
no.
has that.
It just has
bum.
the zing of curry up the
And
back
you're
of
warm.
it. You know what I mean?
It's perfect for this kind of weather now.
That curry powder down those, what were the old like cylinders with the white screw cap on
Yeah,
top
they're
of
like
them?
O'Donnell's or something.
Yeah.
Or I don't know what they are.
I'll
Yeah.
have to ask my mother now, but the way she makes it anyway, a big loaf for bread as well.
Yeah.
gotta tell you-
Shout out to Kathleen Connors.
Gotta tell you, it's not
An
the first.
amazing, an amazing woman living down the camp down there.
The stew.
I ate many a stew. I ate many a stew with her.
I'll have to bring some in
No.
next time.
Funny story is when I only started hanging out with John, they used Kathleen, John's mother, used to make big bowls of this stew with the curry powder in it, and she'd be saying, "Get Teddy over for a bowl of stew." He used to be fucking ringing me, waking me. What are you doing? Not doing much. Get over here. My mother wants you to have a bowl of stew. I say, Sean, man, I'm after eating me dinner today. Get over here. She says, you're too skinny now.
Yeah.
You have to come over and eat
She
the
says to me,
stew,
she
Teddy.
first said to me that he was real skinny this time. Is no one feeding that poor young fella? John, tell him to come over.
So they used to force feed me bowls of stew, you know what I mean? Like over in John's house. No, it was just a hospitality thing, lads. You know what I mean? Like
nice.
it was totally
it's
just
nice
like
though.
we've got loads of food here called Teddy. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, and then just the little bit of
He'll
a buzz
finish
in
it.
Yeah,
Hunger.
exactly. Then the buzz in between. I sure there's nobody feeding them. Look at the state. You know what I mean? That's just the added spice on top.
Yeah.
But
This isn't the first episode we've talked about stewing.
well,
No,
it's a big
comes
part.
up.
It's a big part of our culture, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, big
you
time.
know.
It is Irish culture. Coddle is different. Coddle is more Dublin culture, actually.
Yeah, that has the little
Yeah.
soggy dickies bouncing around.
Now
in it, yeah.
Travis wouldn't like a coddle. Now Travis wouldn't eat a coddle. That's
Really?
exactly what he'd say. Little soggy dicky, the sausage.
You know,
Right.
boiled sausages.
Like I go ew now myself. I wouldn't
They're
eat
too
that.
masculine to eat a boiled
I
sausage.
wouldn't eat
Think
them,
they're
no
gobbling-
My man's the same.
think
She
they're gobbling a little dick.
doesn't like the thought of it.
No
So-
way.
No, seriously, yeah, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
Well, you were saying it was a Dublin thing. I trained to be a chef before when I left college for a couple of years, and one of the lecturers he was telling us a story of coddle, and
Yeah.
he said that back in the day you'd have to fast before going to mass from midnight the night before.
Heard that.
So
Heard that.
the wife would make the coddle, and then when your man would come in from the pub about quarter to midnight, you'd be able to heat up the coddle easily, get a bowl into him, and keep him going until after mass.
Jesus.
Mass fast.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
So was this coddle he was eating?
coddle, yeah.
Explains a lot.
And that was the idea, you could just heat it up easily, and
Explains a lot.
it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it gets better after a couple of days, I find, if I make a big pot.
Stew is like that, man. The
Yeah.
next day, man.
Yeah.
See, the next
Oh, yeah.
evening, the stew, when you heat it up, and it's way thicker.
Yeah.
And all the flavours are
Yeah.
just more, I don't know, they're coming out more.
It's like the
Anything
potato-
like that.
the
I did a
potato-
pot of stew myself. I did a whole pot for myself and Brennan's bread.
I've seen him.
Today's bread
I've
today.
seen him eat 2 pots of stew, smoke 60 Benson, 20 pints of Guinness, and 6 fist fights
In what? In a car park.
in a car park
No, do you know what that came from?
before 6 o'clock.
No, do you remember one night, me and Teddy, right? Me and Teddy, for the first kind of year and a half friendship together, oh, geez, Lennon.
Oh, we didn't know about that.
We used to just chill in mine and Darnell in my house. We just lying there, just smoking rollie after rollies and just chatting about the world, figuring out everything. But this fucking one fella was stalking me, right, after Love Hate, and he'd just go, hey, John, like 3 or 4 in a row, and I wouldn't text him back, and then like he'd see I read it, and they'd go, you're reading it, why are you not texting back? And I go, hey, what's up, man? Listen, yeah, I'm a huge fan, blah, 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 blah. Oh, cool, thanks very much, it's conversation over. And then like 3 in the morning or something, he'd be saying, hey, John, what are you up to? What are you doing? Like 3 in the morning, I get them the next day now, and then I'd read them, and I wouldn't text back, hey, you're reading them, and he was like getting really obsessive. Hey, can I have your address? I just like to go out and visit you, and I was like, what?
Yeah, he wanted his address.
So then
yeah.
I just ignored him for literally a week this time, right? And me and Teddy was in mine, and I just read all these mad mails he sent me because like out of frustration, right? But it was like just comedy gold.
Listen to this, man.
He was like saying, text me back now. I'm your biggest fan now. Text
Truly
me back.
yours. This is Stan.
Yeah,
you know, this is what it was, boys.
and then he says,
basically, yeah.
this is what he says to me, right? And like, you think I get offended? I couldn't stop laughing. He says, if it wasn't for Love Age, it'd still be boxing in car parks. And And what I did was, right, instead of getting all annoyed, I just sent him back a wink, right? And then he got red frustrated. What the fuck does that mean? And then I sent him a thumbs up. And me and Teddy's just roaring around that. And then 2 days later, he texts back and goes, hey, listen, my phone was hacked and all. That wasn't me. And he goes back and I said, yeah.
What a schmuck.
And that was 2 years ago. He came back to me out of the blue with a new page for the day for carbon gangsters.
On the chance if that dude ever comes across this podcast, start texting John again, man. We miss you, bro.
He texted me the other day, man. Carbon Gangsters, I saw it all, loved the Carbon Gangsters.
Never.
And then he went, oh, you read that text back. And I had to block him then. I said, I'm not doing this again. Fucking hell, man. Yeah, it was a bit of a legend, though.
Jesus.
Very funny, though.
Very
You'd be
weird.
still boxing in car parks if it wasn't for Love Hate. I said, I do actually still box in car parks. So I'd never stop boxing in car parks.
Jesus. Oh, man. Oh, is that the only sort of person you've had like that?
Oh no, man! I've had like hundreds and hundreds of freaks, and people like from all across the world as well. Even mad, like people who got on to Love Hate because they had Irish friends in Brooklyn and a Puerto Rican woman, and even now with fucking Carbon Gangsters, everybody's watching it in Scotland and England and Wales.
It hit on DVD.
Sky on Demand,
the DVD
you know?
took off, and like it's after going fucking viral.
But I've like
basically, man.
these Scottish women, a Scottish stripper recently, and she was like wants to marry me, and like set up a Facebook just to get in touch with me. I was like, I didn't believe she was real and all. And she sent me videos of herself. John, please, can I call you Jason? Jason was the name of the character in Carbon Gangsters. Like mad shit.
Well, people
like
want
crazy.
people want to live fantasies, boys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they
Oh,
really,
man,
really,
it's freaky.
really do.
Well,
you know
John's
what I
an
mean?
actor. I mean, that's
So she-
that's living a fantasy.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
Oh, of course
yeah,
it
in a
is.
And a
sense.
writer.
Yeah,
And a writer, yeah.
Of course it is, yeah.
Yeah.
And so she was falling in love with the character.
Character, yeah, completely, yeah.
Wow.
And I get it like all the time. Like when I go out, I can't like Teddy. I can't even now 3 years later after Love Hate. I can't go out without being mobbed anywhere I go essentially, unless I go to a really dark kind of place. Really dark nightclub. That's where I kind of usually want to go to anywhere where there's. But I get mobbed and they all call you Patrick and sometimes they get aggressive and then sometimes women just want to get it on and there's all different sorts of propositions you get. And
Do you like
it's
it?
mad. I absolutely hate it. It's just fucking really ruins me nights, doesn't it, Eddie?
It's pretty disrespectful.
And people with videos constantly, like just go over without even asking permission, like get a video in your face, and even like you get a lot. It's different actually. It's interesting the different types of people from different classes and how they approach it. Because usually when you get someone who's working class, they approach it. They're kind of more, a little bit more humble or more. You get a lot of them aggressive actually. Someone looking for a fight, but they'll ask you, can I get a photo? Whereas I've often been encountered by lads like from the very affluent neighbourhoods in the south side, let's just say, and he'd be like, I'm getting a picture with you. Like I remember one fellow one night came out, I'm getting a picture with you. And I went, sorry? I'm getting a picture with you now. And I went, you're talking to me? He says, yeah, now. You wouldn't be anywhere if it weren't for the fans. I went, for starters, you should have just asked nicely. And second of all, no, go away. And he kept going. I said, I swear to God, I'm going to take your soul from your chest if you don't go.
Your soul is mine.
And literally, Mortal Kombat. I was going. And he just walked away shaking. But I got a lot of that, rugby kind of lads and all, very, very aggressive. And do you think you're a gangster, because you're in a show? I said, no, I'm an actor. You should know. You have loads of drama schools over there in the south side. We don't have them over here. Mad.
They're not fans.
No, not at all.
No.
But then you get some people who are really genuine, and who just like Love Hate or like whatever stuff I've done, and that's nice. And people who are not everybody's a cunt, you know what I mean? People are better when they're sober though, because when they're drunk, they've no inhibition, and then they're queuing up then around the nightclub then for you. You know what I mean? That kind of.
We were at Bellator MMA there fucking couple of weeks ago. How many weeks? 2 weeks ago or something?
Yeah.
Me, John, and a friend Damo, and anyway, we were in there. We were ringside. We were blessed enough to get ringside tickets, but it absolutely just turned into people wanting the picture with John fucking Connor. So when we had to go, man, we couldn't even see the main event. That's how bad it was, boys.
Before the main event.
Jesus.
I was annoyed because I wanted to see that main event, but it was just gone too intense and just pisses you off. And I get anxiety bad, I'm not really good with crowds in general. And when people are coming up, I just, my heart just starts to go fast. I just get the tingles down my arm and then fear sets in, you know what I mean? So I can't, if I've had people tearing my shirt off, my back scraping me face, reefing
Jesus.
me. Loads of mad shit.
Yeah, man.
Women like the worst. Women have been the worst. I've had a lot of aggression from women as well, A lot of, and if you don't go through the whole act of having the chat, getting the selfie, and giving them everything they want without smiling the whole way and looking really friendly, you're going to get aggression when we're encountering drunk people. Like, you have to look like you're enjoying it all. You know what I mean? And if I'm not smiling and enjoying it all, and I'm just trying to pass them all, straight away they're getting smart with it. Straight away it's aggression.
Jesus.
Teddy's seen it a million times. Teddy saved me from a million situations.
Wow.
But like, that's a real problem, isn't it, man?
It's mad, yeah.
That's a real problem.
But like,
that's,
it's, you know,
that's such a crazy dynamic, man, to have this somebody admiring you in a sense, but then turning negative about
But I
it.
think
Like,
I think that a lot of that's new as well, though. That, you know, the whole just selfies and even camera phones.
well, like,
and
I
internet.
understand. Like that,
Years ago, a person of my
basically,
level of
you're
fame wouldn't be
basically-
getting this.
Yeah.
It's just that all the technology, you know what I mean? Because
Basically,
I'm not
you're
A-lister.
increasing their popularity through
It's
getting
all about-
photographs
it's all
of
about
you.
likes on Facebook and
turning,
Instagram.
it's turning into a very vampiric sort of culture where, you know, the more people that you can
Teddy,
actually
they need
pull
likes
onto your
and
side.
hits to affirm their own love for themselves. You know, like, they're so insecure. A like helps them.
Yeah.
So I helped them get that like on Facebook.
We have a secret.
How pathetic is that?
We have a secret word for them. They're called schmelters.
Schmelters, that's what we call them.
I
It's
like
not
it.
secret anymore.
You know,
Schmelters,
but
yeah.
it's out there now. Like, if we ever call you a schmelter, you're probably going to get a slap in the face very,
And often,
very soon.
what I do is say if I'm getting schmelted and Teddy will want me to, and Teddy give me this, and I'll just go when I'm talking to the person, I'll just go smelt, and Teddy will come in and grab me and make some excuse.
Yeah.
I'll just go smelt, and Teddy will grab me, and that's how we got to get away. Yeah.
That's gas. That's mental. Like, I mean, no one can really understand that because there's very few people in your situation.
Yeah, but also, man, here's the thing.
Definitely.
Like, a lot of people say if you're in Hollywood and you're Brad Pitt and their levels of fame is insane, but at least they fucking have 100 million in the bank and bodyguards.
Exactly,
I don't
yeah.
have any of that. And people think because you're on Love Hate, you're a millionaire. What the fuck? The whole budget for the whole fucking show, the 6 episodes, was 3.2 million, and they employed about 200 people, and it was super low budget per episode, $6.15 an episode. Like, so do you think you're a millionaire? And your bollocks scrape me shit together in debt in a new film, Carbon Actors, which are wrote and starred in, biggest box office hit of the year, biggest DVD, biggest on Sky of the month, and I'm seeing fuck all from it. And
Really?
what I'm seeing from it is not even covering me bills that I'm in fucking debt.
Why
and
is that?
people think you're a millionaire.
Why is
Because the artists get fucked over. Because the people who take over, the distributors, all these different people, and all these Cats-22s they don't tell you
Yeah,
about.
welcome to the
all
fucking
comes
industry.
In,
They use
all
the
comes
artists,
in, and
boys.
you go,
Yeah.
Carbon Actors
Absolutely.
spent 575 grand in the box office. Well, I don't know much about it on DVD yet. Only I know was the biggest. It has been the biggest DVD every single week and sold out something like, even in Tesco alone in Clear Hall, it sold out 17 times, and all across everywhere, right? And Sky on the Man, huge of the amount of people.
Number
text me
one on
from-
YouTube for 6 weeks in Ireland.
Number one on YouTube until it got knocked off by the Scientology one,
Louis Theroux.
So, and all the online platforms gone viral and people paying a lot of money, right? And what I'm seeing is pathetic out of that.
Wow.
And I wrote the thing. I was the only person involved in it from day one, from my head, my imagination, till the very end, seeing it through all the festivals, the Q&A, the marketing. I went on a marketing campaign like fucking Arnie Schwarzenegger for the marketing fucking thing. And we got all the results, and I see what I see is not worth talking about.
Yeah.
And that's been, I'm still in fucking debt after that. That's a
pathetic.
fact.
In death.
I tell you what, though, if you do want a selfie or to tear John's shirt off his back, just give him a tenner.
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, I did it one night. We did it for St. Francis Hospice one night, and it was the 6th episode of Love Hate the last season. So kind of the height of my fame. And I went around pubs in the north side, and I charged the £5 a selfie, and I actually got like 4.5 grand.
Fuck off, yeah?
Yeah, for St. Francis Hospice, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, for the hospice,
a few
yeah.
years ago, yeah.
From himself.
Oh, Jesus. I'd be too ashamed of it, right?
You know those Comic-Con things? I don't know if they have just normal people in them.
No, I think you have to be a comic
to be in
book.
a sci-fi
Oh,
thing,
I was in a video game. But
you
my
go.
character, the Stalker film, I co-wrote with Mark O'Connor. It's really kind of art house, but kind of political film about a homeless dude. And basically, one of the dudes who worked on it, Michael O'Connor, is now working for like Nintendo. So he made a game version of Stalker, and I'm there in it.
It's out for the DS boys. You want to see it? It's
Yeah.
actually John Connors like moving
Yeah.
around and some murder mystery stuff.
And the
like,
character I created, it's fucking great. Like that's one of the bucket list ones, being a
Yeah.
video game.
You beat
know
me,
what I
man.
mean?
One of
And
my-
especially a
one of my
real video
dreams,
game, the
yeah,
old
you
school
beat me.
looking, like not the ones that are too real, as I said before. I don't like
That's
them.
cool.
have you ever played it, John?
No, never.
No,
Just saw it and I said, that's cool. That's someone else's
Here,
job.
if you press down and bang X, he does a sonic spinball.
The last game, like game by game, was like fucking Pokemon, man. And Pokemon.
Hey man, hey, we've done some crazy things, but do you remember, John, when we realised that Pokemon Go came out and me and you wanted to become Pokemon Masters?
Yeah, because that was my dream to be a Pokemon master.
Right, so his
when I
dream was to
child.
be a Pokemon Master, right?
When I found out I couldn't be that, like that's when I became an adult. It was like finding out Santa is not, does not exist. You mean I can't go to Japan and become a Pokemon master?
Yeah.
And then that's when I learned what depression was. But then this game came out.
Yeah.
This game came out, and Teddy got it first, so he gave me the lowdown. We'd be meeting up at 3:30 in the morning outside the Hilton, getting all the different balls and all the potions and all. I just got addicted to it, like I couldn't sleep.
Oh man,
And even in my camp where I live, in my camp, in Traveller Camp, like all different Traveller Pokemon and all.
that's
That's
brilliant.
a lie.
That's right. Some of them had slash shoots and all.
John Paul and you know what I'm saying, man? We gotta go. Whoop, whoop,
John
whoop,
Paul and you, yeah.
Did you ever get recognised, Teddy?
No. No.
You are now a bit though, aren't you?
No, I don't think it's like that. I have been recognised, but fucking hell, not when I'm shoulder to shoulder with all these colossal guys that I'd be hanging out
You,
with,
your
man.
man
They're all
sniffing.
they're all studs. I do get that. I actually do get that.
You're the
yeah.
man sniffing the lines off the sword.
Yeah, that's that's an iconic part of the film.
Yeah.
It seems.
It is, yeah,
it seems because a lot of
Come
people,
here,
a lot
I'll
of
give
people
you
are
love.
you the guy with the samurai sword, But listen, I'm the guy behind the music, which is
They
more
love,
important.
man,
Which
but
is
they
more
loved you.
important, man.
I was in Mount Chai yesterday. I did a special screening for Carver Gangsters there, right?
Yeah.
And I never get nervous for screenings. I never want to watch the film ever again. I'd sick up of watching them, but it was kind of exciting watching them with these because this is the real critical fucking, you know what I mean, for authenticity anyway.
Yeah.
And they have best screening ever, laughing their heads off.
Wow.
Like they loved the Dublin dialogue, how real it was. They appreciated that because they'd never seen it before. And in Irish film or television, that sort of real Dublin dialogue. And even bits that they weren't meant to laugh at, they were laughing at dark shit and all. It was really funny. But the bit when you came up and you did the line and they were falling off. And there was some guy, like some big guy, I'd like to be able to name them like big gangsters, like. But there was one fella in particular who's very, like if I said his name, you'd know him. Everybody knows him. Everybody listening would know him. And he's in there now. He has a nickname. But he did that little part when you came in the line and he looks a bit like you, and they were all saying it was him and they were pissing themselves laughing. Fucking mad, yo. And they were like,
yeah. Well, that was my favourite line in the film.
Fucking deadly.
Cardboard Gangsters was great for the music, boys. It really was.
Yeah.
Blessed to
It
be
was.
able to work with, a lot of people see it from the outside and think that, just because I'd be close enough to John, I might have got all the music in there through him. He helped, of course. He was a big help there. Mark O'Connor as well. Big shout out to the director.
Mark's a big fan of yours.
Mark O'Connor became obsessed with my music after a while, and he wanted everything that I've ever done sent to him. And through working with him like that, he just fell in love with so many different tunes and gave me the opportunity to stick. You know what I mean? I must have fucking 6-7 tunes in that fucking
And it gave the film
man,
a very
you know what I mean?
unique, contemporary Dublin sound, Darndale sound as well.
Yeah.
That was what was important to it.
Yeah, and that gave a character. I think it drove the film as well.
We always talked about Darndale being a character and that music to help that enhance that character. And Darndale is very existent in the film, so it was a really unique soundtrack.
Yeah, it must be
Thank
nice
you.
to make a film.
It was fucking great to make a film.
Yeah, it is, but like I wouldn't have enjoyed that experience. I would have been satisfied from it though. But I wouldn't have enjoyed it.
Did you do
Why
it again?
not?
It was too intense. Like me and the lads lived together before the shoot and during the shoot in my house, and then mad shit. It was just
Boys,
Just
I'm
did
talking
everything with the film.
24/7. The house didn't shut down for
just
5
doing
weeks, boys.
like doing
You know,
and all the characters going to the Blacker. We went to the Blacker. We done all that. All the fella who were in my gang.
Right.
And see, because
we had
when
to bring a couple of lads into our world in Darndale that were exterior
where?
actors that were coming in,
Particularly, say, if
classically trained.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have to say, boys, this
the
is
Blacker.
what we do, man.
But that's
you know?
what he wanted. Like Fionn wanted that. It would have been from Holt, and he wanted that. So we made a commitment to do that. But on top of that, we were willing to give up the keys of my house in Darndale because we're moving back to the camp, right? And I had remembered when we moved in when I was 16, we faced so much discrimination from all the neighbours just for being trappers immediately. We got like 100 complaints in the first month for noise. We never had through one party, right? And one of them named the Wi-Fi knacker bastard neighbours, right? So this is the discrimination we got the whole time there without interacting with people, without doing any harm to any people. But I never forgot it. So when we were willing to give up the keys, I said I'm going to hold them for a few extra months so we can shoot Carber gangsters in it and all of us lads can live together. So I went over to my cousin and I got a 5-amp speaker. And that was on 24 hours a fucking day. And we were in the black hour out there doing mad shit. I made at some point, like, I was going, why are we not filming this? I was in the house one day and there was me, Teddy, and the other actors in the scene, just 3 of them, right? And it was like 25 women and I don't know who they were. And they're like, the tops is off them and like the mad shit. I can't even, some of it is incriminating. I can't even say. But
we have to draw a line somewhere in these conversations,
yeah,
boys.
and it just went
to tell you everything, man.
It went so far that we were like not sleeping and all, and then like doing all-nighters before scene. But it was strategically doing them as well, because doing them a night after a scene that you were meant to be doing it, or a scene that was really emotional, and when you're broke down after the session and sleep deprived, you can get to that place kind of really easy. So in that sense, it wasn't really enjoyable, but very satisfying. And because I was writing for years and a lot of me is in there, it was a really cathartic feeling by the end. Yeah. But I didn't enjoy it. And it was 15 days.
And would you do it again?
Days.
On that budget. It just breaks your heart, man, to do that. Like, I'd say I wouldn't, but I would. Do you know what I mean? I would, like, you know what I mean? I would, but I'd prefer like 3 times that budget. You know what I mean? We had 50 speaking parts, huge stunts, 96-page script to film in 15 days. And when our budget was tiny compared to what we were trying to do, you know?
Right.
So...
Springboard to a bigger budget, though.
Hopefully, yeah. Well, you'd say that, and biggest film of the year, and we got rejected from the film board, and then I applied for a short film just recently with the film board, which would be my directorial debut. Now, you'd think they'd want that, considering the success of Carber Gangsters, me starring and writing. You think we'd want to fund his debut. Plus, he's a traveller and he's a minority, and there's never been a traveller director. Plus, it's a fucking little awesome script. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And guess what? Fuck you. They didn't bother funding me. So
well, now they know that you don't get paid. So.
Yeah. Now I'm just basically saying to all them, fuck all them. I don't care if they ostracize me.
Did you see the film, lads? Did you?
Yeah, I watched it the other day.
All right, thoughts. Come on.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very well made.
With some amazing scenes. What about some of them montages going on around Darndale and stuff?
Yeah.
They're amazingly edited together.
Yeah, I like that. They were
pieces of work in their own right. Now they stand the test of time and filmmaking.
The editor, he deserves the credit for that. But that editor, Tony Kearns, would specialise in music videos, and he did a lot of music videos.
Kearns did my first creative crime video,
and he did a lot of YouTube stuff and a lot of stuff for Prince and Michael Jackson.
Hey boys, he did like Prodigy Firestarter.
Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah, man, he did like the guy who edited my first ever video is a fucking living legend.
He is a legend in music video editing, you know.
He's retired.
So they were his specialties then, yeah.
Yeah, he was retired. We dug him out of the grave after like something like 8 years to do our creative crime video, Give Me Your Pain, featuring John Connors.
Yeah.
Go and check that out.
Another great video.
Yeah, brilliant.
Another great song.
Have you seen that, have you?
Yeah, I've seen it loads of times.
Yeah, it's mad because like there's nothing like it on the album. Our album is so, the creative crime album
very different, isn't it?
Yeah. So diverse, but we just thought we'd put out like a kind of a social commentary, just to set some feelers off in the public, boys. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Like to get people thinking, you know.
Yeah, and I think it had a good reach.
Yeah, no, it did. Yeah, it did well. It did well, definitely, man. We've got some fucking weird stuff on the album though, man. We go off into like trance, dance, deep hip hop, you know.
And like a bit of Bloodhound Gang there won them.
Oh man,
like
the album
really,
is
really
so
diverse,
man. You know what I mean? It's so diverse, and I can't. Like sitting here now, only knowing Give Me Your Pain, it doesn't sum up the fucking end.
No, if you only know Give Me Your Pain, you're going to get a shock when you hear the album. Like,
yeah, exactly. So.
And where can people find this album?
Well, it's not out till next year, but we have a campaign slid into place right now where we're after doing a 3-video deal basically with director and filmmaker Jared Walsh, Tristan Heaney, another actor and filmmaker, award-winning filmmaker, worked with a lot of stuff with John. He did Today with you, yeah.
Yeah, short film.
He's going to shoot one of my videos. John is going to shoot one of my videos. So we have this kind of basically this schedule of releasing 5 videos before our album. You know what I mean?
Daily.
But we got
It's all done and dusted, the album. You're not releasing the videos, isn't it?
exactly. It's all in the vaults. Like we're going to release it on vinyl next year. And
Well, that's the strategy, though, Ted, isn't it? Because you can't just release something and let it out there without the big backing. You need a momentum coming behind it.
100%.
If you're an independent artist,
100%.
you know, it's hard striving out there.
Definitely.
Or a podcast.
Definitely.
Exactly.
We got a cool comic book coming out with it as well. We've got figures coming out with the album.
Comic book.
Yeah, we're talking to the first ever vinyl press, boys, opened up in Glasnevin there a couple of weeks ago. First ever vinyl press in the country. They're after buying these machines. Dublin Vinyl in Glasnevin. So that's it now. You can turn your music into vinyl in
Have you
this
ever
country
seen
for the
vinyl
very
being
first
pressed?
time. No, but I'm going to go watch we're the first artists to be printed out of Dublin
way.
vinyl.
Did you ever
Creative
see?
crime.
Do you remember years ago there was that show on the Discovery Channel, How It's Made?
Yeah.
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 Seen it on that one time. They get a print, big fucking. Do you ever see those yokes? Like they just apply pressure. What's it called? Big machine and
Your
it just-
voice, is it?
Yeah.
No, not a voice, but it just applies like tons of pressure on something and it'll just smash it up.
Right.
I sent you a video actually.
Pressure
of-
machine.
Is that what it's called?
No.
Well, that's what we'll call it, a pressure machine.
Yeah.
It's one of those, and it has the print of your one side of your vinyl on one side, and the other on the other side, and then they get a blob of vinyl, like you know, warmed
Yeah.
up, malleable vinyl.
Yeah.
And it has your little the sticker on top of it, just a blob, and this thing just goes down and goes,
Flattens
and
it.
that's it.
It's crazy how
That's it.
boys
That's
these
how they do it.
boys,
Amazing.
man. I'm gonna get on some Eddie Bravo shit over here, man. I'm feeling a bit. Hold on, man. Fuck, man. You can record sound onto a candle? Did you ever see that stuff?
Yeah.
Because it's wax.
Put
Did you
the
ever see that?
waves
You
on.
can scream into it in a certain way and do something like with a nail inside the candle, and then if you play it with a pin, you'd hear yourself. It would capture the sound inside the wax, and it's the same principle when you're printing real vinyls.
Maybe you should do a limited edition in candle wax.
That'd be fucking crazy. Your hand would be fucking falling off by the time you get to the last track. Keep going in circles around the candle with the screw.
You'd be lighting it up.
Wait to hear this track.
What would happen if you had the candle burning and you kept it playing and it was burning down?
Oh yeah.
Imagine playing Candle in the Wind on that. Sings to me. You lived your life.
Just
All right.
blow it and the song stops.
I told you I'd tell you a little story about carbon monoxide. It's really
I heard that's
Can't
bad
wait,
for you, isn't
can't
it?
wait for this.
bad, all right, yeah.
Now, okay.
I was reading. I was reading about this woman. I think she has a podcast about skepticism. So, being skeptic at supernatural stuff, right? And because she had this experience, so she started like having a ghostly kind of experience in her gaff. You know, like she was seeing shit, she was hearing shit, and it was getting super intense. And over the course of a few days, it was getting worse and worse and worse. So she went online to a website and on a forum, she put it up saying, "This is what's happening to me. Does anyone know what's going on?" And someone said, "Yeah, sounds like carbon monoxide poisoning." So she got a dude out. Turned out there was that much carbon monoxide in her gaff that she would have been dead within a couple of days.
No fucking way.
And she thought she was experiencing a
And
ghost.
what was she doing? Tripping, like, because
Tripping balls.
it was cutting off, like, obviously our air, like, and everything like
it
that.
makes you trip, like, and it's super real. And there's no reason for you tripping, so you
Come
can't see
here.
it or smell it. You know,
Glenn, what causes it?
carbon monoxide.
Yeah.
Well-
like what causes that volume of it in your house? What was
Well, you remember your man? What's his name? Carbon monoxide is the silent killer.
Duncan
Yeah,
Stewart.
yeah.
Duncan Stewart. Yeah,
It was
And
him in the house.
not having not having a vent. You know, because we
just not having the vent?
we breathe out carbon
No, it
dioxide.
could
Fuck's
come out
sake,
of
lads,
like...
we've
Oh,
no
actually,
vent in
I'm
here,
fucking-
lads. What's it?
we do look.
Oh, there.
It comes,
That's what I was thinking
Boys,
about it
John's
because
a
we
unicorn.
turned that on.
it comes
Okay, I'm
from
fucked.
burning fossil
I'm out of
fuels.
it on
Burning fossil fuels as well.
So
Yeah.
if you're burning like gas and stuff in your house,
So she might have been burning briquettes or something, boys, right?
Yeah.
Over like 50 years, the wallpaper
Yeah.
smelled like piss and biscuits.
and a gas oven,
And then all of a sudden, then she started tripping balls, man.
So if anyone wants a carbon monoxide trip, just start burning briquettes now. When you're about 70, you'll have a nice little
No, do you think that's what it was, though?
the carbon monoxide.
Yeah, coming out of briquettes or the
Oh,
coal or the fire.
No, I think it can happen. It can happen all sorts of ways in your gaff.
Look,
As
what-
long, if you don't have a vent, you're fucked.
Look, what about spontaneous human combustion, boys? Like,
There
I
we
might,
go.
like,
How?
like we might just bust up into one big ball of flames now, man.
It has
Great,
happened.
wouldn't it?
Remember
It has,
happened
of course
some,
it has
remember
happened.
happened some dude here a few years ago.
In this building?
No,
In that year.
well, some poor fucker in Tipperary or somewhere.
Yeah.
It's just they just found the burn
burnt
mark on the
carcass.
ground. Yeah, no, not even a carcass hardly. Like it's pretty much.
Lads, that'd be a
Gone.
bad buzz, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be a bad
Like
blow.
to go out that way, like I just like bursting into flames.
Like, imagine
Like the religious heads would have a field day with that, wouldn't he?
Like
He
imagine,
was a devil.
yeah,
I always said it about him. The demon was in him.
imagine that. Gave up the smokes, got clean off the heroin, bust up into flames.
What causes it?
There's yeah, boys. I did.
Heartburn.
I did, I did see a fascinating documentary where they tried to uncover spontaneous human combustion and back onto the carbon monoxide thing. Or maybe it was carbon dioxide, boys. I'm not too sure, but anyway, there was this.
You're not a scientist,
No, I'm not a scientist, but there was a guy.
You're wearing that lab coat
There
then.
was a guy. Hello,
This is bro science.
yo, bro. I heard there was someone in a laundrette, and basically, he was breathing in a certain type of fumes that the washing machines were putting out in the laundrette over a certain period, and they found high levels of that in his blood. But he did spontaneously human combust himself.
Where-
And they think
He did it deliberately.
no, they think he was consuming these things that the laundrette was giving off. It was emanating this fuel.
Where did they get the blood from?
Where do you get what?
The blood.
What blood?
Was he wearing lingerie?
did you not explode or? Oh well, if you explode. I guess
He
there's blood everywhere,
he
wouldn't
just bust into flames. He spontaneously human combusted.
What was he
them.
wearing? Was he wearing lingerie? That's where this is going now.
it? Yeah, that's
Bring
the
it.
religious. That's the religious thing.
Lingerie.
Bring it on, man.
Anyway,
Gee, we're dirty.
that's the carbon monoxide. Is it carbon? It is, yeah.
That's an
Is it
interesting
dioxide or monoxide, lads?
Oh,
I'm
monoxide.
confused.
Dioxide is what we breathe out, and monoxide is
Yeah.
what comes from burning.
So I was getting confused. I was like, I thought that shit was good for you.
Carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
So monoxide is it that's burning out?
Yeah, I think so.
Which is good
Yeah.
for you then? Which
Neither.
Neither. You want
Apparently, when you're drowning, it's not the lack of oxygen that kills you; it's the levels of carbon dioxide builds up
All right.
quicker
Fuck.
than you run out of
Oh,
oxygen.
you stick a bag over your head
Doesn't
and
it
just
come
keep
from
breathing.
trees and shit, no? Yeah.
They-
In terms of oxygen.
No, trees consume it and they give out oxygen.
All right. So it's not all bad, like.
No, they
No,
love
but
it.
not for us.
Yeah, okay.
They love it. But then flies
Well,
eat shite.
I don't
you
know. I don't know. What if you were a tree?
Well, yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean,
Well,
Can
Tree,
you be a
you'd love
trans?
it.
Can you be a trans tree now? Do you know what I mean?
I'm pretty sure there is trans. Well, if there's trans species people,
Yeah, and there's people like you're a trans racial. See this new? I've just decided I'm black, and I've always felt black. Like people in America and all.
yeah.
Lads, come on. See, all this trans shit's getting out of hand now, lads, right? I'm not, like, what I'm not, now I know, I'm not, I need to be careful what I'm saying here, right? What I'm saying is,
Lay the smack down, John.
this whole thing, lads, with just like the children are in some schools now, I heard in Australia and a few places, are not allowed to call each other boy and girl and not allowed to say, now lads, that's
That's
getting out of
ridiculous.
hand, lads. Come
Yeah.
on.
That's I think that's
a boy.
breeding
That's a girl.
segregation into
Wait till if they feel strong enough about it, wait till they get older, they can identify. Like, what percentage are transsexuals anyway?
well, here, yesterday, I think it was, or the day before, Trinity sent out a message to their students saying from now on, they're not going to be called freshmen. They're going to be called fresh.
Oh my god.
So it's not fresh.
like
They
the,
are
like the
fucking
like the
wankers,
supermarket.
yeah. There maybe there's a copyright issue there. But here's the problem with that, right, in my mind. So freshman doesn't mean man, like bloke.
No, it comes
It
from
means
mankind.
Mankind, yeah, human. That's
Yeah.
why we say,
Yeah.
when you say all of man, you don't
Yeah.
mean all of blokes, you mean all
Exactly.
of mankind. Human is humankind. It's not Hugh bloke.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah.
very good point.
Hugh-
So,
Hugh people.
so they need to. I mean, there is a stuff that needs to be sorted and all that, but you
I think-
can't go ridiculous with it either.
Yeah, and it should be personal in a way. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to identify with a fox or a tree, go for it.
Yeah.
But when you hear of I think in New York and in Canada as well, they've like brought in like incredible fines. I think in New York, I think it's like $200,000 if you're an employer and you have here's another one, gender fluid. So today I'm a man, but tomorrow I might be a woman.
And I'll fuck off.
And if for an employer,
They can go and
if an
suck
employer misgenders someone,
Nice.
Nah,
they get a massive fine.
that's bollocks,
Like,
man.
that's where it gets out
That's
of
a
hand.
person with a mental illness. That's what that sounds like to me now. Well, man and woman one day, and that's bollocks. You
Yeah.
can't do that. No, there's 100% people who are I'm not denying people that are transsexuals. Not at all. People who feel like they
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
100% to support them and all the way and fucking up the ran all, yeah? But but fucking these people, and one day they're this and one day they're that, and then you're telling children like in school they're not like a boy and girl. And also even this fucking, I'm not sure about this toilet thing either, because Well, like if you wanted to be just a perv, dressed like a woman, and you could be perving on kids, man. I don't know about that. You know what I mean? That's if I'm thinking of my kid, I wouldn't like my little girl, or you know what I mean, going into the toilet where there's a man who just dressed up as a woman as a predator.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now you might say that's unrealistic, but we're living in a country of fucking predators. Like this is fucking rape, fucking capital of the world in Ireland. What my opinion?
It is
Not
a
the
possibility.
paedophiles. So I don't know, lads. It's all tricky stuff.
What about Kevin Costner in Waterworld? He was half man, half fish. Do you know
Was
what I
he
mean?
though?
Man?
Yeah,
he had gills, man. He could
And I
swim.
thought like, that's
I know,
one of the
but at least
greatest
he
films
had
ever.
gills though. I mean,
Yeah.
he's not just a
Yeah,
bloke.
he had
He's not
web-
just a bloke who's saying, actually, I'm a fish.
Why did he have webbed toes and not webbed hands?
Evolutionary mistake.
Maybe
I
that's
guess.
why it wasn't a hit.
Stupid fuck.
I don't think it's true.
It eventually
Still loved it though.
It eventually became a cult
It's a
classic.
cult hit, yeah.
It was a flop. It was a
here's-
flop when it came out.
Wait a minute,
Here's-
sorry, go on.
No, you go on.
Oh, I was going to say, speaking of fish,
Satchel.
Moist.
I had heard somewhere about
Slippery.
a type of fish that is transgender.
Yeah,
That's right, yeah.
yeah.
Was that in Blue Planet?
I'm not sure. No, I didn't
But
know. I
don't they
didn't see
just
Blue
do
Power.
it? They just do it to trick the other
Exactly.
fish so they can rape them.
Jesus Christ.
Isn't there something?
Yeah.
Something like that, or to eat,
boys.
Or to
yeah,
eat them.
or
yeah.
to mate. It
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
something. Yeah, they change their sex. Yeah.
Yeah, they change just to like get it on. Like.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kinky. Like, you know what I mean? Fair play to them. You know what I mean?
Here's my take on it, right?
If I could be a woman for a day and just have a woman sleep with me, I would. No, scratch that. I'm not, that's it, yeah.
Gender fluid.
Yeah.
Well, you can just have normal gay sex.
Yeah, okay. Well, no, there wouldn't be. If I'm with a woman, no, it's getting complicated now.
Just dress up as an AR woman there.
So the thing
Man's
about
be a good looking man.
Just have a wank in the corner. Go on.
thing about boys and girls not being able to call each other boys and girls in schools, right? Here's what I see the problem is, like, equality is a very important thing, but it's about recognising the differences and making sure that doesn't impact on opportunity.
100%.
It's not about saying no, a boy is a girl and a girl is a boy. If you know, and it's not saying that there is no difference, because there's
Yeah.
loads of difference between men, women, cultures, whatever, everything. There is difference. You got to recognise those differences and then make sure that no one's opportunity is impaired because of those differences.
100%. That's what equality is about. I'm always
That's
talking
what
about
equality is
this.
about.
People come up to me and almost in a patronising way sometimes, or not realising it, and they go, you Travers and us, you're all the same. No, we're not the same. We actually are different. We have cultural distinctions.
Yeah.
Let's get past that, and let's make that not matter. You know what I mean? That's what equality is all about. 100%. But it's the thing in Ireland, we've always had this thing of sameness. And anybody who didn't fit the status quo have always been ostracised. Like the young pregnant women who were sent off to the Magdalen lodges, and kids who came from poverty and sent to industrial schools, people who were mentally ill and they were sent there and they were experimented on by British scientists. Anybody who hasn't fitted the status quo of being the same as the majority, they've always been ostracised.
Yeah.
We have to get over that. You know, differences, that's what make people interested. People having differences
Absolutely.
and different
Exactly.
backgrounds.
But it's not about, I mean, I hate this when they say that there's a cultural approximation of gender based on the toys that you give a child and stuff. But you'll find that some boys will go for the supposedly girls' toys and some girls will go for the supposedly boys' toys.
Yeah.
They're drawn to these things because there are differences.
Of course,
We're
absolutely.
physiologically different in certain ways.
Of course.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
We gotta be grown up about it and say we make sure that no one's opportunity is impacted because they're a woman or they're gay.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
they're
100%.
different.
And
Well
look,
said,
you know,
Country.
Well
for the
said,
most
Glenn.
part, like nowadays with
My
women,
man.
Thanks, Teddy.
now if you look at like and like these are just facts. There, it's not like this is not a thing against feminism or anything like that. If feminism is, in a very simple terms, women should be equal to men in terms of opportunity. Call me a feminist all day long, right?
Yeah.
But if you look at, say, like a friend of mine, Frankie Gaffney, did an article, right?
Shout out to Frankie.
And Frankie's a writer, novelist, and
A beast.
a linguistic specialist, and just an all-round fucking gangster.
He did a TED. He did a TED.
But,
He was the one who did Ireland's TED Talks, boys.
Yeah, he's dead,
Yeah, he's a good friend of ours.
man,
Peace out.
He's fucking deadly, man.
He
right?
wrote Dublin 7. Shout
And
out
he's
to
one-
that book.
yeah.
He's authored the Dublin
And he's
7.
one of the very few brave journalists out there who write about travellers in a very critical way towards the state and institutionalised racism, blah, 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 blah. But anyway, Frankie did this thing the new sort of term now that's coming, that's been applied in Ireland, and it's come from people from upper class backgrounds who have nothing to give out about, and they want to create something else to be oppressed about, right? Me coming from a community that are very oppressed, I have a lot to say in this subject matter. They're bringing the term in straight white male privilege, which is from America. Definitely exists in America. I went over there, did documentaries about it, for fuck's sake. But in Ireland, that does not apply. We have a very class-based system over here.
Yeah,
it's completely
very
different, right?
class-based.
I could meet a girl who's of colour, say of African heritage, and she's a woman, African heritage. She could be lesbian, and she could be from Foxrock, right? She's way more privileged than me, a traveller from fucking Darndale. But by the straight white male privilege and that logic, I'm more privileged. So he basically deconstructed that theory over in Ireland, how it's been used. And he got attacked by hundreds of women and associating them with like the alt-right. This fella's a proper left-wing fucking communist, probably, you know, and straight away that label got put on him. And he also just cited little things like men are actually underprivileged in a lot of areas, like with suicide, employment, prison, homelessness. Men are actually, and just citing simple facts, people just jump at. And what they want to do is, and this is the social media world we now live in now, is label you. And once you get labelled, man, that's it. You're known as that. Now there are people who are writing in magazines and calling him like a Nazi for literally deconstructing that in a very intelligent, intellectual way. And people just jumped on it. You should check it out. It's unbelievable. And that's the new thing now. People are afraid now to speak. Free speech has gone out the window because you could be just labelled as anything now. You're a Nazi now for just challenging like some absurd idea of like radical feminism. You know what I mean? And you're a Nazi if you challenge it in any way with facts. Now, that's wrong.
It is. You
You
gotta
know,
be able
and-
to have the debate.
Regardless of facts or not, let's say he's wrong.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. If he's wrong, he's wrong.
Yeah.
He's putting an idea out there. That's open for debate.
And how does he become a
anyone can
Nazi
debate.
when none of it is Nazi ideology? How do you get labelled a Nazi then? You know, and a member of the alt-right.
Yeah.
And comparing him to that new dude who's supporting Trump, that alt-right dude in America, that's the comparisons you got.
And I think
Crazy.
if that's the only comeback you got to what he's saying, you're not actually saying why you disagree with him.
Yeah.
You know, so
Well, no one could give him
they
an
were just
intelligent
feeding off.
comeback.
They were just feeding off.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
But you'll find a lot of people now on Twitter and Facebook and all. They all want something to give out about.
people
get
just
on
want to
it.
regurgitate stuff, man. You know, and
Just
try
wanna
try
jump
just
on
pack
something.
it on them.
Yeah.
And, hello,
I have a theory about
hello, how dare you?
I followed the American Democratic primaries extremely closely a couple of
Yeah,
last year because
massively. I was
Bernie-
obsessed. Bernie all
I was
the way.
waiting for Bernie to go in.
Oh
and
man, New York crushed me when he lost New York, and them
that was
independent
that was
voters couldn't vote.
That was
yeah.
very, very sad.
Yeah,
And people who wanted to vote had to sign up November
exactly.
previous.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was all fixed, man.
let's not get into it. It was all fixed, and
yeah.
that's been
It
proven
was
now.
fixed, yeah. It's been
The
proven,
woman
yeah.
Donna Brazil came
It's
out
all
and
come
said
out, yeah.
it was definitely fixed. Anyway, right, so part of Hillary Clinton's campaign was an extremely vitriolic, negative campaign, unbelievable, and
Not one but positive, yeah.
and you know her cohorts in the media were running with it, and it followed all the way through it. And because, as I said, the neoliberal propaganda has always been about social issues. So the idea that this other person is potentially sexist by staying in the race. Bernie
Yeah,
was
to see that.
a sexist
That
for
was
staying in
incredible.
the race against the next potential first female president.
That was so infuriating.
It's so against anyone's normal intelligence as
Yeah.
a voter.
Well, it was
And
really
then-
just down to him being a socialist, and that was it. Like,
Yeah, but you know, at the same time, when they lost, when her side lost, because they couldn't admit that they were defeated on their economic policies
Yeah.
that nobody wants since the recession.
and also just an uninspiring campaign.
Completely uninspiring.
No hope, you know.
But you always lose on the economy. You
Yeah.
always lose on
Yeah.
the economy. And they lost on that. But all the news organisations, these are all neoliberal propagandists, they couldn't admit that. So what they did was they made this approximation, it was all about the fact that she was a woman.
Yeah.
And that, like people, I mean, I'd consider myself a feminist because I completely believe in equal rights and equality.
Of course.
And people get so incensed when they constantly tell you this is sexism in your face. And you know what? They lost because they had nothing to offer.
Yeah.
And Trump didn't win. Trump won by default because he was against nothing.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do, well, not nothing, I'm sorry. There's obviously a certain section of people, but not enough to elect a president.
But he had a lot more hopeful campaign. Make America great again. Make
talked
America
about-
great again.
he talked about the economy.
Ronald Reagan, economy and making it great again and going these poor people and identifying, and not just whites. People don't understand. He had massive, like Puerto Ricans, Cubans, a lot of minorities, people who are very socially conservative who voted for him. You know.
And let's just say that he was full of shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because look at his tax policies now and everything he's doing, cutting the healthcare and all. It's bullshit. He said he wouldn't do all that stuff, so he's full of shit. But that's the thing. So the neoliberal propaganda machine wouldn't let them be known that their economic policies had failed, because they still say, oh, well, we're going to win eventually. So they have to radicalise people in other ways, and that radicalism is getting worse and worse, and you see it feeding into now that way that someone can't have an intelligent debate by writing an article about something, and someone who disagrees come along and say, well, here's why I disagree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man,
as
that's the thing
compassionate
now.
human beings.
That's the thing with the leftist organisations now and movements now as well on the ground. They're getting very violent.
Very,
they're
very
like violent.
Radical.
And Antifa and all them and these different. I've seen a voice documentary about those. The ones who wear the black, they wear all the black. Yeah.
Antifa.
Yeah, it was Antifa, yeah. And they were just like these people are crazy. Like, these people are starting trouble themselves.
Yeah.
What, like, you're losing the battle here. You're losing everything. Like, you can't, like, if you can't have an intelligent conversation.
I have to admit, when all that went on, I was just back from Berlin. I guess a passenger we'll have on the show at some point in the future. My mate Ken is a tour guide over there. I had basically, me and the girlfriend, like a 3-day Nazi history tour, and then it came back and the whole Charlottesville thing was going on and all the rest, and it was freaky to watch, man, because most of the stuff that me and Ken talked about was how they came to power in a democratic society.
Yeah.
So I was freaked out by it, and I was a bit radical in my thinking myself at the time. My mate Kev brought me back down to earth, and you know, he's totally right. Once you start being violent politically, you've lost.
Yeah.
You've lost.
But man, I was over there doing a documentary. Was the last during the Trump elections, you know, and we met a lot of Trump supporters. We decided not to include them. We met a lot of kind of gun maniacs, and we met Black Lives Matter people and all that, right? But this everywhere you went over there, it was just the political temperature was just through the roof everywhere. The tension was just like we felt like we were in a war zone. Like, that's what it felt like, the stress of the whole thing, and it felt like you're on the brink of a civil war.
Yeah,
that's what it actually felt like.
It was war, though.
It was
It was
almost
agenda
looking like
war.
that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, it was agenda war.
Yeah, it was just like it's getting really bad over there. Like,
because their voting system is really, really bad, and I don't just mean the presidency. I mean the two-party system.
Well, it's a two-party dictatorship.
It's
It's
terrible.
impossible. It is absolutely impossible to be elected in a third party as a third party candidate. Like, with the money they have behind it, what did they spend? Like $2 billion on a campaign.
You know, do you know how many votes? Like, how many people voted for either person in that race? Was only about 50%. So the biggest winner was nobody.
Yeah. It's gas, isn't it? And then the electoral college
Nobody.
what saved them.
He was fucking
Yeah.
wankers.
He even lost, and he won.
Yeah, the electoral college saved them, which is like a 250-year-old system that's based for elites, essentially.
And I've heard Trump supporters say that this is the exact line they say. The electoral college is brilliant because without it, California and New York would elect all the presidents. And you go, no, people would.
Yeah,
Just
people
because there's
would, yeah.
more people in those places doesn't mean they should have less of a voice.
The two most successful states who are actually in the top 10 economies in the world as states.
And what do they? What I mean, they always say one man. Well, there I'm saying man again. It means mankind. One man, one vote. That's what they say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you work it out based on the electoral system, it's not one vote for each state. Some votes are greater than one, and some are less.
No, it's just that whole system is rigged over there. It's just
Bad. It's bad. They need our system by comparison. I think we have the best voting system in the world.
Did you know what Neil deGrasse Tyson said that
I've no problem with that. I've only problem with who we're voting for.
Yeah.
right, well, he'd said when the election was coming up that there should be an option for none of the above.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if none of the above wins, you have to start again with new candidates.
That'd be great.
It would be great.
Yeah.
But they could fix that by just electing a parliament by proportional representation.
Yeah.
Right.
They could
Yeah.
fix it that way.
Yeah.
Just move into our system is what I mean.
Yeah, basically, because now you can never have a third
Yeah.
party in America now and an independent that never has a sense of presidency. So it is essentially a dictatorship. You have only two
Well,
choices.
it's minority rules because
Yeah.
if you have 3 people in the race and I get 40%, you get 30%, you get 30%, I win. But I've won with a minority of the votes. 60% of people didn't win. So the majority always loses.
Crazy.
So when Trump won, he won with 25% of the vote. And 75% of people aren't represented.
Yeah, because you got to wonder how many people nowadays, like I certainly don't define myself as left or right.
No.
You know, you can take a bit of everything
Yeah.
sometimes, you know. So are those people represented? You know, probably not.
I think that
Constructive progressiveness.
left and right is
Yeah.
just about the economy.
Yeah, I think, I think it's important not to get fucking caught up in a label there either. Like,
Definitely.
Exactly, yeah. It doesn't
and
do
that's
any
the
good.
thing. Sometimes you have one, say, political position, and people try to label you because of that. I might have a few positions that people would call conservative or traditional. And if I were to say them immediately, then I'm a right winger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yet I'd have loads of, I'd be completely based on equality. My whole political being is all about equality and a lot of leftist positions. But I might have one conservative, and you're right wing nut. Like that's, you know what I mean? So I'd be very apprehensive about saying I'm left or right or whatever. Fuck off, I'm left or right.
Yeah, I'm just a fucking person.
Have a good left hand and right hand. Double left, right hand.
I'm only human after all.
Back on the politics.
Put the blame on me.
Yeah, come on, Jim Carrey. Bail us out over here, man. Cure world hunger,
right
Jim.
then.
You know what I mean, man?
Do you know what?
Wasn't he the first man to ever make 10 million in Hollywood?
That's right, yeah.
Wasn't he the
Was he?
first man
And-
to ever sign for 20
and
million
20
in Hollywood?
million, yeah. Do you know what I don't like about him though, Ted?
For film.
I jumped on
Yeah.
the whole, the super spiritual buzzies on, and I was like, yeah, really inspiring. And then he goes on that podcast, that comedian, what's his name? The comedian. Oh.
Noel McDonald.
Norm MacDonald.
Norm
MacDonald.
MacDonald.
Yeah.
Norm
Now, Norm
MacDonald
MacDonald
had a
fucking
farm.
screwed him over. This is where I lost it. Like I was totally on this Jim Carrey buzz, the spiritual buzz. This man's doing something and he's inspiring and his videos and the visualization, right? So then he goes on Norm MacDonald's podcast. Norm MacDonald's just like the realest fucking man you could meet, and just like really peculiar sense of humor and just doesn't give a fuck. And he's gone on this big rant, Jim Carrey, and you're not really seeing that it's ego driven until Norm kind of points out to stuff. Then you're seeing this man is all ego. And Norm says he's talking about these paintings that he does where people can come in and buy the paintings and all, and you come in and you enter the room and all. But then Norm goes, and 2 minutes before this says, I don't care about money, and I could, this milk would just do me, and I don't care, 3 meals a day, and I don't care about money. And then when he brought up the paintings, and Norm went, yeah, but it's like $10,000 to enter the room, isn't it? And Jim Carrey's face just dropped, and his face went red, and I immediately, literally became a detractor right there and then, going, fuck off. Easy of you to say that when you have 100 million in the fucking bank,
Exactly.
that you can live without nothing, fucking...
How much is he worth, though?
Oh, he's worth over 100 million easily. Well, it has to be easily. It's like he's getting 20, 30 million for certain films, and then how that fucking goes on, all these little extracurricular activities he'd have, voiceovers and the Grinches and the this and the that.
Do you reckon you'd win an Oscar, John?
Jim Carrey,
No, you.
man, like, well, do you know what would be great? Tell you what would be great to win an Oscar for, because you are rich forever. Right. I'm not saying that money's, I'm obsessed with money, but nice to have that financial security. Because no matter what, you'll be an Oscar winner. You'll always be able to resurrect your career. But like as a trophy, it wouldn't, like, I actually laugh when I watch Oscar speeches, sometimes really emotional ones, and I find them really funny. Like, I don't know how people get up there and they're just so, I just want to thank God, and like why are you so you didn't do nothing important. Like, this is not this is all for you. And I'll be first to say this, I do acting for me. Like, I want to be involved in films that have a political, social narrative and kind of Ken Loach type films, but ultimately I act because it's my own selfish, personal, cathartic gain. My own artistic buzz. It's not for to save the fucking world. If that was the case, I'd be going to fucking Haiti to try to build a village or something. Like, when you go up and win an Oscar, you're not a great person. In fact, you could be a rapist. Like, actually, look at Casey Affleck. He did actually rape a woman and settle outside a court. He won an Oscar. Like, you don't have to be I think you'd have to have that deep personal connection with it or something, and how to communicate that. But it doesn't make it like a great, like, why do y'all get emotional? Like, they've done a great thing, like they've built the pyramid, and they're getting up and they're getting, I wouldn't get emotional. I'd be like, Jesus, really tough with this, and I'm thanks for my peers have appreciated my work. But I wouldn't be like getting emotional and shit. Like, I meant it.
Doesn't acting because it's expected of them.
Yeah, I think that's the culture. That's their culture. I'd be much more fucking get a kick out of fucking getting a film in Cannes. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which would be a lot more difficult, and doing something over there, and because you have something that's real, then,
and that's something that's screens to everybody.
Like, Hollywood's just about winners. Everything's winning, win.
Yeah.
And if you look at any Hollywood film, I guarantee probably 99% of Hollywood films of the last 30 years, say, every film that won the best film has been about a winner. a winner. If you keep looking at them in one way or another, they're about winners. So it's a country that's obsessed with winning, you know. So they build a lot of cheesy stuff. Like even they end up getting great European filmmakers, then kind of ruining them a bit. Like an example would be, and I'm probably being harsh by saying that, Steve McQueen, who did Shame and Hunger, 2 fucking amazing films. Then he goes in those 12 Years a Slave. It was good, but he didn't maintain his original style. And it went Hollywood, and you know what I mean? Now, it was still edgy for Hollywood, but it wasn't pure Steve McQueen as a director. So that's what they kind of tend to do, you know?
And what about you, Teddy? Do you reckon you'll win a Grammy? That's a yes. He doesn't want to say it.
No, I don't know about acting, boys. I'll stick to the music anyway.
Well, Grammy, is that? No, hang on a second.
That's music.
What's that?
That's music.
Grammy's
Yeah,
music,
that's music.
That's the Oscars of the music world.
I'm so out of tune, boys.
That's how little he cares about
That's
that
good.
kind of stuff.
That's
No,
good.
no, yeah, I don't really care, you know. Just do my own thing.
Yeah.
Win
What
a
would be-
Grammy,
what would
man. I
be-
get up there exactly like John said. Nice one, lads. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
thanks.
Like,
What
I'm
would-
on my own selfish buzz over here too. Make no mistake about it. You know what I mean?
What
I've a
would-
lot of things to prove.
What would be like
To myself.
What way would you define success in a music career?
I had this conversation with a friend of mine not too long ago. I don't know. I think the redemption that I'm looking for is, I'm trying to rid myself of. This is a journey for me as an artist, and I'm trying to rid myself of a lot of things. I'm trying to change myself, all my insecurities, everything. This is a big healing. Like being an artist for me is this big healing process, you know, where we get to sit down and offload all these things and turn them into something physical, you know. And yeah, we get reactions, and on it goes, and maybe this builds some type of social profile on yourself. But at the end of the day, man, this is just my personal journey. So success, like, I mean, I don't know what success is. Will I ever achieve success? I hope not, because then I'm just going to stay hungry and the art is always going to be magnificent, you know?
Well, define success, you know, in your art, and define someone who's a successful person. Is it because you've got a big house, a lovely new car outside, you know, lots of friends?
We're realists. We know that's
Exactly.
not that. We know that's not
Exactly.
that.
That's
know
not
what I mean?
how you measure wealth
We're
or
probably going to be
success.
happy in the old camp, lashing the rain, no heating, still doing that. You know, let's rewind this back to like 5 years ago when I was sitting, you know, in a cold house with John, and we'd look at each other and we'd only have a box of rollies to our name. Actually, we didn't. We had to get a loan of money to get a box of fucking rollies.
It's a fact.
You know what I mean? And we were
Get loaned the money out of my mother.
you know what I mean? And we're talking to each other and we were saying, John, you know, there's something special in you. I see that. And vice versa, and we're bouncing off each other. Steel sharpens steel. And I've always said that. John helped me a lot. And I'm sure it's vice versa. I hope it is anyway, you know.
course.
But we used to sit there and we used to visualise these things, you know. We used to visualise. I used to spit me rhymes to him, and he used to give me
And you used to read for Nidge for rehearsing with me. Remember with all?
well,
I was doing Love Aid.
it's so deep, lads, but we just
He
basically
do Nidge and all, you know, so learn the lines.
But basically, it was just one of these things where we'd ping pong off each other and help each other to success. Do you know
And
what I
the
mean?
conversations the conversations we'd have just for hours about life and about what we have to give, and even that thing of like you're talking about success. Forget about that for a second. Think about where does that want come from to be an artist? Where does that come from? What's inside you, or what's missing, or what do you have to give to want to be an artist? What are you chasing? That's the real question.
Yeah.
you know, that's the real question. So
Yeah. How would you define success, Al? Like personal success, I mean.
By being,
That's what.
well, yeah.
It's very hard.
No.
It's very hard to wrap your head around it. It's like,
Yeah.
you know,
But-
it really is, man. You know what I mean? To come to a definitive on the unknown.
there's different.
That's weird, man.
Well, there's different categories. There's the materialistic success,
course.
which of course we all
Yeah.
want in one way or another.
Yeah.
And there's your own personal kind of journey.
I think it's having people in your life that you want to spend time with, that you're happy to spend time with, and having time to do the things that make you happy.
Yeah.
You know, not just working. You know, I think if you can make time in your life for doing the things that make you happy, it can have tremendous benefit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Even if that's,
Amen, brother.
you know, just sitting watching telly doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you have a hectic life and you want to just be able to switch off and do nothing, you know, and just forget about everything.
If you
Great.
have the ability to do that, that's a success.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally
I
agree.
hear you. I just had a baby 7 weeks ago. If I find
Congratulations.
thanks, lads. If I find the time during the week where I can sit down and put on my PlayStation, That's success, you know what I mean? Because I've got so many,
100%.
you know what I'm saying? Because I've got so many responsibilities and I got to live up to certain duties, whether it's work, whether it's music. I make time for my friends too. And obviously my family probably 100% comes number one at this stage, you know? When if I find that time for that PlayStation and I sit down there, that is fucking success. Smell the success.
And I think the problem with
you know,
the idea
switching
of success,
off is success, isn't it though, in a sense, isn't it?
I think the problem is people associate success with money. And you know, there is a factor in that. I mean, if you want to be a musician and you want to be an actor and I want to be a podcast presenter, if we were able to do that and earn a living, that's a
100%.
big success.
Yeah.
You know, but you don't have to be a millionaire. You don't have
No.
to have a fucking mansion. on
Yeah,
the
I had
hills.
this conversation with Damien Dempsey, you know what I mean? Like where he is the absolute, now he's on a meteoric rise, but you know, he deserves that, but he is the absolute epitome of the perfect balance. You know what I mean? Like where it's not all about the money for him, but he understands that he needs to achieve his goals in order to fulfill a certain type of lifestyle just to maintain himself at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like so,
But never compromise the
never
artistry.
compromising the artistry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean,
Right.
boys? You know, it's unbelievable, man. You know what I mean?
Well, he's the inspiration because
Yeah.
he could have sold out years ago. Like,
Yeah.
and he didn't. Like, he was asked to sing for Obama and he refused it. He turned around and said, "Well, how could I sing Colony and then ever again after singing for Obama?" He was asked to be the judge on the Voice of Ireland,
True
who would have
story.
brought him a new young
amazing.
generation.
Yeah.
He was asked to be a judge in the Voice of Ireland, would have brought him a new generation of fans, you know, like he did for Brezzy. He'd resurrected him. And he said, "How could I turn around and tell no one not to sing? Everybody should sing. It's good for the soul."
Yeah.
And he maintains that, being absolutely staunch and never for 1 second compromising or changing his beliefs or core beliefs or his style. And
love
still,
that about
and gets
him. That's
number
how you
one.
become a relic,
And,
you
gets,
know what I
and
mean?
now
Like,
is
that's how
getting
you
number one
become.
album after
Yeah.
number one album. His fans are getting huge. He just played the Ivy Gardens a few months ago to 4,500 fans. And is still selling 3 gigs out in Vicar Street in the same year.
Wow.
By being an absolute staunch artist who never compromises.
By being himself. And,
Yeah.
and
Someone actually asked me, "Who do you want to? Who's your hero?" I'm like, him. I said, "I'd like to be the acting film version of Damien Dempsey, which is probably like a Ken Loach or something. You know what I mean? Or Shane Meadows."
But you know, next time you're talking to Damo, you know, you should tell him how good an experience you had in the podcast.
Hey, no.
It'd be a nice-
True story. I texted Damo today, and we're in a little me, Damo, and John. We have a little what do you call it?
Northside people, WhatsApp
WhatsApp
group.
group.
WhatsApp group called Northside People. Right, but basically, I said to John, we're getting picked up by Al today, 5:45 and stuff. And I was meant to send it to John. I sent it into the Northside People thing, and Damo wrote back, "Yes, bloody bastards, just want to come in, do the fucking thing with you. Look at you planning around me." But he's off in Kilbourne, and I wrote back and said, "It'd be epic if you come in. What are you doing at 5:45?" But he was in Kilbourne, and to be honest, if he was in his house in Donaghmede, there was a very, very, very good chance he'd be sitting here with us right now,
especially
boys.
coming along with us, like the.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you know.
there you go. It's the reason for next time.
Yeah.
Then look, we're going to have to wrap it up for today. Time is against us.
Man.
But also...
I was about to get a fucking 6 Dutch gold, man. This shit rocking.
And
man.
a cigaretto.
And a
no.
cigarella, baby.
Well, now the reason is we've a little surprise for you. Outside, we've gathered all John stalkers all in one place.
Oh my
You know,
God.
we just said we'll let them all get their selfies all at once.
We
Get the
have-
gip mask out.
We have brought a load of shorts along.
Boys, what I will say before we wrap this up, down the road, when you do get big, and you will get big, boys, have us back on for the crack.
Have you back on whenever you want.
Well,
There
we
you
were
go.
gonna ask-
Like John's writing new films. I'm bringing out brand new material. It's a big year for me next year too, and we'll see a date, which is for sure.
I'll be honest with you, right? What we want to do is we want to have conversations like this. So this is us getting to know each other. You know, we've never sat down and had a conversation for an hour and a half
Therefore,
before.
yeah.
So the next time we come in, the conversation will be brilliant.
Of course.
Yeah, well, the next time we're
So-
sitting here, me and
Gonna
John,
happen.
will I announce this publicly? Me and John Connors, God Creative and John Connors are going to have their own podcast. So,
Yeah.
Ah, brilliant. Oh, we can
And
come on
you're,
yours.
you're coming on to ours.
so maybe
Absolutely.
you come on to ours next.
And
You
we're
know
all
what I
wank
mean? Like,
each other off.
Start
huh?
up-
Again.
Up the rat.
Again.
Well, that's nice chatting. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no, it's great to have you. Thanks very much.
lads. We touched on a lot of subjects there. Controversial. So
Right.
if
We
you
did.
if you're listening to this and you felt like it was controversial, and
I
you
hope
maybe
someone
felt
doesn't
little
grab
sad,
a line now, the gender line there.
Well, you know what?
Soundboy.
There's nothing better than sensible political debate.
That's it.
Everyone's entitled to have their own opinions, and that differ from you.
Well, there's the context there
That's
anyway.
okay.
we respect
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
We're
We respect that.
respectful.
Yeah.
Respect is very important. And we respect you guys for coming in. Really, thanks very
It's
much.
been a great honour,
It's been
lads.
great.
Thanks
It's
very
been
much.
lads.
It's been
Thank
awesome.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
Let's get some of the players out.
Yeah. Where is it? Where's the music?
We're spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Tell me why are we so blind to see that the ones we hurt are you and me? Been spending most our lives the gangsters. Hey, see you later, folks.